stick around, tell your friends from the border to the basin out here in West Texas. Great to be here tonight.
The dream of the American West was you come out here, get your own little piece of paradise, you work hard, raise cattle, you make enough money to look after your family.
Sure, I'd love to cook you one.
This land, it's really for one thing, and that's producing livestock. They've tried to farm and it doesn't work, and except for beautiful views, that's what it can produce.
West Texas is a big band in this area. Are you the platonic ideal of the Texan? The American hero? Lone rider on a horse? Big empty spaces? Mexican music? Mexican food?
This is still where the punchiest cowboys in the United States are. It don't get no rougher.
I mean, we're 120 miles from the nearest Walmart, 40 miles to a tank of gas or a loaf of bread.
Out here, pretty much everything is 5 hours away.
And the property's been in the family how many generations now?
This is the 4th generation. 5th generation. My granddad came here in the 30s. Bodie's family came out here in 1880.
Not a lot of people left get to do this.
There's still a lot of cowboys, but it's hard to see from the highway.
The ranch is approximately 70,000 acres. We don't use anything other than a horse. No four-wheelers, no helicopters.
Forgive me for saying so, that seems a little stubborn. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as practicality,
He is so opposed to change.
That's not all bad, is it?
no.
I mean, these guys, they love it. I mean, they get up every morning and this is their office. He had his teeth kicked out
By
a cow.
oof.
And then he got in that chute with the steer and knocked them all out again. Oh, there goes Evan. She's about to rope.
How old were you when you learned to ride?
Oh, gosh.
She had a horse
I
when
had a
she
horse
was
when I was
3.
like 3.
3.
Yeah. Evan shows horses all over. She is top 5 in the world right now.
In the cow horse, you have to show how well your horse can do, different maneuvers. And
Here comes Levins.
How old?
He's 10. Watch this.
Damn.
Is that hilarious?
It's killing me.
Way to go, Levin!
Oh, sweet little hunter, my back into your side.
there we go.
Follow my path here.
The cabrito that we're eating yesterday was a live goat.
Oh, killer, so graceful.
We like it spicy, jalapenos and onions and, fresh tomatoes.
If you got a bunch of gringos, it's perfect.
How Mexican is West Texas? This is where it is.
On the other side of that mountain, 20 miles as the
So-
crow flies.
Those flavors, those sounds. that's yours also, right?
Oh, yeah. I learned to talk Spanish nearly before I learned to talk English.
It's the good vanilla from Mexico.
Old Mexico or New Mexico?
Old Mexico.
Chewy's mother comes from Mexico, south of Ojinaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long you guys been riding together?
Oh, me and him?
Yeah, you and him.
35 years.
You know, it's an awesome way of life.
Jalapeno cheese grits.
Nice.
Of course, they're buttermilk biscuits.
This is an area of Texas that is legendary for whatever you might have thought you were going to do here, nature wins.
Always.
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 It'll not rain for 20 years, and you just stay as long as you can, then it starts raining.
Yeah.
So, how do you make a living?
Basically, dig in.
Work like hell and don't spend any money.
Yeah.
This table right here is filled with people who truly care about the land and what happens to it.
You just have to have the heart to stay and want to stay and do it and make something of it while you're here. If you got a weak heart, you won't last.
I mean, I'm graduating next year, and I'm gonna go to college, go through law school, finish, but I wanna come back out here. There are kids that are my age that will never see this, never have this, never be able to know people like this. And that's, I mean...
Priceless.
Yeah, how can you say no to that?
If you get to eat 3 good meals a day and be happy, being happy is more important than anything.
Allá en el rancho grande, allá donde viví. El grupo de los rancheros. De tener su buen caballo. Enciérralo por las tardes. Y dale vuelta al ganado, allá en el rancho grande, allá donde vivía.
So how else is the area changing? I drove for 3 hours through ghost towns, dead gas stations, and nothing but nothing, and, you know, suddenly I arrive in Marfa. It's like, would you like some bruschetta, some salumi, you know, some $900 ponchos?
That's right.
What's going on?
Clearly, it's not the old family Marfa.
Marfa has become 3 distinct cultures: tourist town, art town, cowboy town. It's just got it all. You can get calamari in Marfa. Who'd have thunk it? 20 years ago, nobody even knew what the word meant.
This is the first bar I ever been into where a person next to me is petting a goat.
In here, sometimes the
get all types.
dogs come in without their owners. As long as everybody behaves, whether you got 2 legs or 4, everything's good.
When the winds flew up in Memphis, made me see the sky. I was headed west through Dallas.
You've seen a bit of the world. You've seen a lot of the world.
I ran away from home a lot as a kid. And by the time I was 16, I got real good at it. I went to Alaska. And then I came back, joined the military, cowboy and roughnecking.
Running drugs and guns across the border?
I did run guns south, and the ATF knows. They got an open file.
What motivated you to get into the bar business?
Well, every cowboy has a dream of owning a saloon.
I did not know that. It's been around for some time under various.
Almost 100 years. There's many different cultures come through here. hipsters, blue-collar city workers, and I wanted everybody to be able to have a good time, no matter who or what or where. There ain't gonna be but one intimidating sumbitch in my bar, and that's me.
You're seeing this town change in a lot of big ways. Every single person I've talked to down here is telling me the same thing. That wall ain't never getting built around here.
My ranch is on the river. It's on the border. We can't survive without the river. And we can't survive without the people on that side of the river. They can't survive without us.
Right.
That, and they're our friends, for God's sakes. Loyalty is a big thing in Texas, and you ain't gonna build a fence between me and my loyal friends.
Every old school Anglo rancher I've met here speaks Spanish fluently.
It's a mutual respect to speak a little Spanish. And it's respect for them to learn a little English. You know as well as I do, you go to Europe, it's not hard to find somebody in France speaking English.
Everybody.
They can, they don't mind. They're not offended. You know, Americans have a tendency to want to be all butthurt about it. Here, we're just not. That's just being a good human being.
Wasn't so goddamn hard to be a good person these days.
Right now in Marfa, it's 75 degrees. Low tonight, only 61. Not that cool, honestly. I'm David Beebe with you till 1 a.m. It's time to go outside and look up at the stars and enjoy the place that you live.
This part of the state was always called El Despoblado, the unpopulated zone, which it never really was.
Born and bred here, near here?
Yeah, a couple 100 miles east, not far.
That's considered close right now.
Close, yeah. The forest still makes me uneasy.
Yeah.
Surrounded by trees, I get uneasy because I can't see. I can't see far enough.
Now, I guess unlike a lot of Texans who take a rather romantic view of those early days, you seem to view it in a darker prism.
It is dark. The story of Texas can it gets a little too polished. It was a conquest, and people forget that. There were people here. The Spanish and the Mexican authorities wanted to exterminate the Apaches. They created the Society for the Extermination of the Barbarians.
So the classic cowboy and Indian film of scalp-hungry Indians was not really the case.
Well, they took scalps too, but they kind of learned from the Anglos. And then when the Texans came in, it intensified. If you were a rancher coming out here in the 1870s, you better have a lot of guns because you were an invader.
Right.
And the people you were invading knew you were an invader.
Oh, damn. You know, if you look at the legend of this place, you know, was it the history of violence and the harshness of the landscape that preserved it for so long?
Yeah. West Texas stayed wild, and it's still wild. People have lived in this landscape for 14,000 years. Through all these different nation states and empires that have swept over them, they persist.
We're gonna catch the arch of light.
that is going to just envelop this motif right here that represents the place where the sun was born. Welcome to the White Shaman site. This is one of the oldest pictorial creation narratives in all of North America. The mural tells the story about the death of the sun, the sacrifice that takes place so that the sun can be reborn the next day. I had the honor of having a Huichol shaman come up from Mexico to this site, and he started weeping. And they said, they're all here. All of our grandfathers, 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 they're all here.
So here we are in Alpine, Texas, talking about the beginning of civilization on the North American continent. The earliest evidence of human existence in this area goes back how far?
Almost 15,000 years. The rock art in the lower Pecos and along the Rio Grande encapsulates not only their religion, but the cosmos. Why you had constellations at certain times of the year, and where were they in relation to each other, the seasons.
Tony, sometimes I just want to scream because people will say, you know, well, did these people speak with the grunt? Well, I look at these murals and I see sophistication that we'd be hard-pressed with today.
I think sophistication is an overvalued term. I mean, what the hell do we mean by that anyway?
Well,
I mean, still pretty much killing ourselves with spheres and rocks of one sort or another.
One of the important things you have to realize is that these people have the same brain that put a man on the moon. They were in tune with their universe and their environment.
same brain, same brain.
I would not be surprised if the lower Pecos art outlasts all of us. All of our monuments crumble to dust immediately. 4,000 years later, white shaman, still there.
I think they're going to have a tough time of interpreting what life was like on this planet. They'll be left with like Betamax copies of Three's Company and, you know, and Who's the Boss? Who lived on this planet and what went horribly wrong?
I know your secret, but I just can't keep it.
This is what the Mexican people end up living in once they leave their adobes. The projects, the low-income housing.
In the morning, you will pay for what you've done.
Hola, Ramona. ¿Cómo está? 2 burritos, por favor, de asado. Por favor. Qué rico. Gracias, Ramona.
Man.
You've been riding horses?
Yes, you noticed the groan as I sit down. That is a serious burrito. No rice and all that. This is the real deal, man. I love it. Were you born here? You were born in Mexico City.
I was a fisherman in Alaska for 19 years of my life.
Oh, yeah?
in the Bering Sea.
Now, is it adobe or adobe?
Adobe.
Adobe. And you've been quoted saying adobe is political.
Yes. You're going to start with that question.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Straw, clay, water, and manure, that's what makes the adobe. We make a flat surface here where we're gonna put the water and the manure on top. Adobe building has happened all over the world for thousands of years. Here, historically, the adobe has been kept alive by the Mexican and Mexican-American populations. The tradition of the adobe is barely alive because of what's happening with the gentrification in Marfa. The Mexican-American minorities are being displaced. The people who have lived in adobes for generations have to sell their homes because of the new taxes. Taxes that are only in adobes, you know, that a lot of us, we also find discriminating. We are at a critical point. When I think about adobe, it's probably the oldest tangible representation of the local and regional culture that we have.
Sé muy bien que te vas y sufro tanto, pero ¿qué voy a hacer? Y así lo sacrifico mi amor, te dejaré partir.
Everybody for generations, they have crossed the Rio Grande back and forth just by walking. The river was low, and they would just cross, go buy some groceries, and then go back.
This is Santa Elena Canyon, Big Bend National Park, the largest national park in Texas, and it's named after the Big Bend in the Rio Grande. We are surrounded by 1,500-foot limestone cliffs. This slowly rose up, and the river just cut through it for millions of years.
It looks good.
Well, good job on the food.
Ah, yes.
Thank you, guys.
Salud.
Salud. So you're looking at Texas, and I'm looking at Mexico.
It's 100% correct, yeah. The cliffs on our left are Mexico, and the ones on our right are the United States. I've been on several overnights where your clients almost forget that, yeah, that's Mexico right there. And they say, wait, is that Mexico? And it's like, yeah, it is. Looks exactly the same as that.
Yeah.
We get people from all over the country, all over the world, and some of them come in hesitant or scared of the border.
When they book the trip, they say, should I bring my gun?
Right.
But the neat thing is that everyone I've taken out, you get to see this transformation from being like terrified to thinking it's beautiful, to thinking they don't need a wall, to thinking I'm actually gonna write a letter saying that we don't need a wall.
Right. Has anyone ever bothered it? I mean, are there like security gunboats coming up and down this river?
I mean, I think the Border Patrol technically does have a hovercraft that they've used once, and
Park
it was
Service does,
horrible.
too.
Yeah.
They have
And
helicopters.
for the record, I don't understand why Mexico is made to be such an issue. I mean, it's our second biggest trade partner aside from China.
Yeah, what about the Canadians? They're actually pouring across our borders and stealing our jobs.
They are taking our jobs.
Find a non-Canadian comedian.
How many Canadians play hockey in the United States for a U.S. team?
Those are high-paying jobs. That
They're stealing them from- yeah.
They're stealing our jobs.
I mean, there's so many avenues that conversation can go to where violence comes from, where dangers come from.
Well, even our small towns here, I mean, crazy stuff happens everywhere.
The world is made a better place by little bits at a time. You can't just jam through a wall in 1 year and say it's fixed.
You know, I've been to a few places where they do have a wall.
Yeah.
Few things are uglier in the entire world of all of the places I've seen. Few things have been more an indication of an utter failure of otherwise smart people to figure shit out. Thank you for showing me this amazing, I mean, just ludicrously amazing place.
My son John was tall and slim, and he had a love for every lamb. But now he's got no legs at all, for he ran a race with the cannonball. Timmy Roo-dum-da, what a riddle-da, what for the riddle, Timmy Roo-dum-da.
There are certain type of people who connect immediately to the empty spaces. I can't spend much time on myself. If I'm alone in my apartment in New York or on a beach with a hammock, I like to think I'd be able to relax, but I can't. There's that enforced sense of humility, because you really know how utterly powerless you are. You're just tiny.